The fork stopped halfway to his mouth. Trevor's face went white as fresh snow when he saw her standing in the restaurant doorway. His new wife Simone was still talking about their honeymoon plans, but her words faded into nothing. All he could see was Destiny Thompson, his ex-wife, standing there with her hands pressed against her round belly. 8 months pregnant. Glowing. Beautiful. And staring right back at him. Destiny felt her heart drop to her feet. Of all the restaurants in Atlanta, why did she have to pick this one? Why tonight? She pressed her hand tighter against her stomach, feeling the baby kick as if sensing her distress. The hostess was asking if she had a reservation, but Destiny couldn't find her voice. 3 years. It had been 3 years since their divorce was final. 3 years since she'd seen Trevor's face, heard his voice, or felt that familiar ache in her chest. She thought she was over it. She thought she was strong enough to handle anything life threw at her. She was wrong. Ma'am? Your table? The hostess was waiting, menu in hand. Destiny's legs felt like jelly. She couldn't move forward. She couldn't turn around. She was stuck in this awful moment, watching her ex-husband's new life play out in front of her. Simone was young, maybe 25, with straight blonde hair and perfect makeup. She was everything Destiny wasn't, everything Trevor had apparently wanted instead. The baby kicked again, harder this time. Destiny winced and put both hands on her belly. That's when Trevor saw it. Really saw it. His ex-wife wasn't just standing there, she was very, very pregnant. Simone finally noticed Trevor had stopped eating. She followed his stare across the restaurant and her face changed too. Is that? Yes. Trevor's voice came out like a croak. Destiny watched them whispering. She saw Simone's eyes go wide, saw her grab Trevor's arm. The whole scene felt like a bad dream. Her feet finally started working and she turned to leave. Wait. Trevor was standing now, his chair scraping against the floor. Destiny, wait. She stopped but didn't turn around. Her heart was beating so fast she worried it might hurt the baby. People at nearby tables were starting to stare. This was exactly what she didn't need, drama, attention, whispers. I can't, she whispered, not sure if he could even hear her. But Trevor was already walking over, leaving Simone sitting alone at their table. Destiny could feel him getting closer. She remembered his cologne, the way he walked, the sound of his breathing when he was nervous. Destiny. His voice was soft now, careful. How are you? She finally turned around. Looking at him hurt worse than she expected. He looked good, older, more settled, happy. The kind of happy she used to dream they'd have together. I'm fine. The words came out shaky. I was just leaving. When are you due? The question hung in the air between them. Destiny felt tears starting and fought them back. She would not cry. Not here. Not in front of him and his new wife. Soon, she said. Trevor's eyes were full of questions she didn't want to answer. Behind him, Simone was watching everything, her face tight with worry. Destiny knew what she was thinking. Everyone always wondered the same thing when they saw a pregnant woman talking to her ex-husband. Congratulations, Trevor said quietly. You look beautiful. That did it. The tears started and Destiny couldn't stop them. She pressed her lips together and nodded, not trusting her voice. The baby was moving around like crazy now, responding to her stress. I have to go, she managed to say. Destiny, wait. Please, can we talk? Maybe tomorrow, somewhere quiet? She looked at him one more time. The man she'd loved since she was 22. The man she'd married in her mother's church with all their friends and family watching. The man who'd promised to love her forever and then decided forever was only 5 years. There's nothing to talk about, Trevor. She walked away before he could say anything else. Her hands were shaking as she gave her keys to the valet. The baby was kicking so hard it almost hurt. She needed to get home, needed to call her mama, needed to breathe. But as she waited for her car, she could feel Trevor still watching her through the restaurant window. And despite everything, the hurt, the anger, the 3 years of trying to move on, part of her wanted to turn around and run back to him. Instead, she got in her car and drove away, tears streaming down her face. Some chapters of your life were supposed to stay closed. Some people were supposed to stay in the past. So why did seeing Trevor again feel like coming home and losing everything all over again at the same time? The baby gave one more big kick and Destiny had to pull over. She sat in a parking lot, crying and talking to her unborn daughter. It's okay, baby girl, she whispered. Mama's okay. We're going to be just fine. But as she sat there in the dark, she wondered if that was true. And she wondered why Trevor had looked at her belly with such strange expression on his face. Almost like he was counting months in his head. Almost like he was wondering something impossible. Destiny couldn't sleep. She'd been tossing and turning all night, and the baby seemed just as restless. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Trevor's face in that restaurant. The shock, the confusion, and something else she couldn't name. By 6 in the morning, she gave up and called her mama. "Chilly, what you doing up this early?" Ruby Thompson's voice was thick with sleep, but she was already alert. That's what mamas did. They could wake up ready to handle whatever crisis their children brought them. "I saw Trevor last night." Silence. Then Ruby was fully awake. "Where? What happened? Are you okay?" Destiny told her everything while she made tea and tried to calm down. Ruby listened without interrupting, which meant she was taking this seriously. When Destiny finished, her mama was quiet for a long moment. "Baby, you sure you're okay? The stress ain't good for you or that grandbaby of mine." "I'm fine, mama. I don't know. Seeing him brought back a lot of stuff I thought I was over." "You love that man with your whole heart. That don't just go away because some judge signed papers." Destiny rubbed her belly. The baby had finally settled down, but she could still feel little movements. "He looked at me so strange, mama. Like he was trying to figure something out." "What you mean?" "I don't know. Just the way he stared at my belly. Like he was doing math in his head." Ruby was quiet again. "Destiny, baby, you don't think?" "No." Destiny said it too fast, too firm. "No, mama. The timing's not right. You know when I got pregnant. You were there when I found out." "I know, baby. I'm just saying men get funny ideas sometimes." After they hung up, Destiny tried to go back to sleep, but her mind wouldn't stop racing. She kept thinking about dates, about that last terrible fight with Trevor, about the night she'd spent at her sister's house in tears. About the night 3 weeks later when Trevor had come by to get his things and they'd ended up. No. She pushed the thought away. The baby was not Trevor's. The timing didn't work. She'd been with someone else by then, a nice man named David who'd helped her feel human again after the divorce. David who'd disappeared the minute he found out she was pregnant, but that was a different kind of hurt. Her phone buzzed. A text from a number she didn't recognize. "It's Trevor. Can we please talk? I know last night was hard, but I can't stop thinking about what I saw. We need to discuss this." Destiny stared at the phone. How did he get her number? What did he want to discuss? She deleted the message without responding. 20 minutes later, another text. "I'm not trying to cause problems. I just have questions that won't go away. Please." This time she turned off her phone. But the questions were in her head too now. Questions she'd pushed down for months because thinking about them hurt too much. Questions about timing and dates and that one night when she'd been so broken and he'd been so sorry and they'd both made a mistake they promised never to talk about. The baby kicked and Destiny put her hand on the spot. "You're mine," she whispered. "No matter what, you're mine and I love you." She spent the morning trying to distract herself. She organized the nursery, folded tiny clothes, arranged stuffed animals. Everything was pink and purple and soft. She'd decided not to find out the sex, but something inside her was sure she was having a daughter. A little girl who would grow up strong and proud and never let any man make her feel like she wasn't enough. Around noon, her doorbell rang. Destiny looked through the window and her heart stopped. Trevor was standing on her front porch. She almost didn't answer. She could pretend she wasn't home, wait until he gave up and left. But he'd seen her car in the driveway. He knew she was there. "What do you want, Trevor?" she called through the door. "Just to talk. 5 minutes. Please." Against her better judgment, she opened the door but didn't invite him in. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept either. His hair was messy, and he was wearing an old t-shirt she remembered from their marriage. "You can't just show up at my house." "I know. I'm sorry. But you wouldn't answer my texts. Because I don't have anything to say to you." Trevor looked at her belly again and she saw it, that calculating look like he was trying to solve a puzzle. "When's your due date?" "That's none of your business." "Destiny, please. I need to know." "Why?" The question came out harsher than she meant. "Why do you need to know anything about me or my baby?" "Because." He stopped, ran his hands through his hair. "Because I can count, Des. And I remember dates. And I remember that night." "Stop." Destiny's voice was sharp. "Don't you dare. Don't you dare come here and mess up my life again. I'm not trying to mess up anything. I just need to know if there's a chance." "There's no chance of anything. This baby is not yours, Trevor. Even if it was, what difference would it make? You're married. You moved on. We both did." But even as she said it, she could see the doubt in his eyes. The same doubt that had been eating at her for months. "Just tell me the due date. That's all I'm asking." Destiny looked at him standing there, this man who'd broken her heart and was now threatening to turn her whole world upside down again. Part of her wanted to slam the door in his face. Part of her wanted to tell him the truth that had been keeping her awake at night. Instead, she said, November 15th. She watched him do the math. Watched his face change as he counted backward. Watched him realize what she'd known all along but had been too scared to admit. Des. His voice was barely a whisper. You need to leave. Now. We have to talk about this. No, we don't. There's nothing to talk about. I'm having this baby and I'm raising her alone, and you're going back to your wife and your new life. Her? Destiny cursed herself for slipping. I don't know. I think it's a girl. Trevor was staring at her with this look she'd never seen before. Wonder and fear and something that might have been hope. If she's mine. She's not. But if she is, then what, Trevor? What exactly are you saying? You going to leave your new wife? You going to suddenly want the family you walked away from 3 years ago? He didn't have an answer for that. Of course he didn't. Go home, Destiny said quietly. Go home to Simone and forget you saw me. Forget about this conversation. Forget about questions you can't handle the answers to. She closed the door before he could respond. But she could feel him standing there for a long time before she finally heard his car start. The baby was moving again, restless and active. Destiny sat down in her rocking chair and closed her eyes. What are we going to do, baby girl? She whispered. What are we going to do? 3 weeks passed without any word from Trevor. Destiny told herself she was relieved, but part of her kept checking her phone, kept looking over her shoulder when she went out. She was due any day now, and her mama had started staying over to help. You sure you don't want to know about that boy? Ruby asked Sunday morning as they got ready for church. He's been asking around about you. Who told you that? Sister Patricia seen him at the grocery store asking questions. And Deacon Williams said he came by the church office looking for your address. Destiny felt her stomach tighten, and not from pregnancy. What kind of questions? When you do, who the daddy is, where you working now? The usual mess men ask when they trying to figure out if they got responsibilities they don't know about. Mama, please. I can't think about this right now. Ruby studied her daughter's face in the mirror as Destiny tried to put on lipstick with shaking hands. Baby, you know I love you. And you know I'ma support whatever you decide. But you can't keep running from this. I'm not running from anything. There's nothing to run from. Then why you so scared? Destiny put down the lipstick. Her hands were trembling too much anyway. Because if he is the father, everything changes. My whole plan for this baby, for our life, it all falls apart. Or maybe it gets better. He's married, Mama. Happily married to a woman who probably can't have children and is living her perfect life. You want me to blow that up? You want me to be the other woman, the one who had his baby while he was supposed to be moving on? Ruby was quiet for a moment. I want you to tell the truth. Whatever it is. Church was hard. Destiny felt like everyone was staring at her, whispering about her pregnancy, speculating about the father. She'd stopped dating after David disappeared, so there was no obvious candidate. People were curious, but they were too polite to ask directly. Pastor Johnson preached about truth and consequences, about facing the things we'd rather hide from. Destiny squirmed in her seat, feeling like the sermon was aimed right at her. After service, she was walking slowly to her car when she heard her name called. She turned around and her heart dropped. Trevor was walking across the parking lot toward her. He was dressed in a suit, looking nervous but determined. Behind him, Destiny could see Simone sitting in their car, watching everything. What are you doing here? Destiny asked. I needed to see you. To talk to you properly. This is not the place, Trevor. Then where? You won't answer my calls, you won't come to the door when I stop by. Where am I supposed to talk to you? Ruby appeared at Destiny's side, looking Trevor up and down like she was deciding whether to hug him or hit him. Trevor. Her voice was cool but not unfriendly. Mrs. Thompson. You look well. I look tired because my daughter's been stressed out and I've been staying up nights with her. You wouldn't know anything about that stress, would you? Trevor had the grace to look ashamed. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to cause problems. I just need to understand what's happening. What's happening is my grandbaby's about to be born, and my daughter needs peace and quiet, not drama. Mrs. Thompson, with all due respect, if that baby is mine. If. Ruby's voice got sharp. Boy, you either think it is or you don't. Don't come around here with, if, like you playing some kind of game. Destiny felt a sharp pain in her back and had to grab her mama's arm. Both Ruby and Trevor noticed immediately. You okay, baby? Ruby asked. I think I need to sit down. Trevor was beside her in a second, taking her other arm. For just a moment, it felt natural, like the old days when he'd take care of her without thinking about it. "When's the last time you had a contraction?" he asked. "This morning." But they were far apart. How far apart are they now? Another pain hit, stronger this time. Destiny doubled over, breathing hard. "That was maybe 5 minutes," Ruby said, looking at her watch. "We need to get you to the hospital," Trevor said. "You don't need to do anything," Destiny managed to say between breaths. "Mama can take me." But even as she said it, another contraction hit. This one was so strong she cried out. Several church members started gathering around, asking if she needed help. "My car's right here," Trevor said. "It's faster than waiting for an ambulance." Ruby looked at her daughter, then at Trevor, then back at her daughter, who was clearly in active labor. "Get the car," she told Trevor. The ride to the hospital was a blur. Destiny was having contractions every 3 minutes now, and they were getting stronger. Trevor drove faster than he should have, but carefully, glancing at her in the rearview mirror every few seconds. "You're doing good, Des," he said. "Just breathe through it." "Don't," she said between pants. "Don't act like you're part of this." But when the next contraction hit, she found herself grabbing his hand without thinking. And he held on tight just like he used to. At the hospital, everything happened fast. Nurses, wheelchairs, forms to fill out. Ruby stayed close to Destiny while Trevor handled the paperwork since he remembered her insurance information. "Family?" the nurse asked, looking between Trevor and Ruby. "He's..." Destiny started, then stopped. "What was he? Ex-husband? Maybe father? Complication?" "I'm her mother," Ruby said firmly. "He's helping." They wheeled Destiny away to get ready, and Trevor was left standing in the waiting room, still holding the insurance paperwork. His phone buzzed. A text from Simone. "Where are you? What's happening?" He stared at the phone for a long time before typing back. "At the hospital. Destiny's having the baby. I'll call you later." "Trevor, what are you doing?" He turned off his phone without responding. Whatever he was doing, he couldn't stop now. He needed to know. They all needed to know. In the delivery room, Ruby held Destiny's hand while she pushed. "She's almost here, baby," the doctor said. One more big push. Destiny thought about Trevor in the waiting room, about the questions that had been eating at both of them for months, about the truth she'd been running from. She pushed with everything she had, and suddenly there was crying, loud, strong, beautiful crying. "It's a girl," the doctor announced, holding up a squirming pink baby. A healthy baby girl. Through her tears, Destiny looked at her daughter for the first time. She had a head full of dark hair and was screaming like she had something important to say. The nurse cleaned her off and placed her on Destiny's chest. "Hello, beautiful," Destiny whispered. "I'm your mama." The baby stopped crying and looked right at her with dark, serious eyes. Eyes that looked familiar. Eyes that looked exactly like Trevor's. The baby was perfect. 6 pounds, 8 ounces of absolutely perfect little girl. Destiny had named her Amara, which meant grace, something she felt like she'd been given after all the fear and uncertainty. But as the hours passed and Amara's features became more defined, Destiny's heart grew heavier. The baby's eyes were definitely Trevor's, dark brown with long lashes. Her nose was delicate like Destiny's, but her mouth, the way she pursed her lips when she slept, that was all Trevor. "She's beautiful," Ruby said, holding her granddaughter while Destiny tried to rest. "Look at all that hair." Trevor had been in the waiting room for 8 hours. Every time a nurse came out, he stood up hopefully, but they always went to other families. Ruby had gone out once to tell him the baby was born and healthy, but that was all. "Mama," Destiny said quietly, "can you ask him to come in? Just for a minute." Ruby looked surprised. "You sure, baby? I can't keep pretending." "Look at her, Mama. Really look at her." Ruby studied baby Amara's face, and her expression slowly changed. "Oh, honey." "Yeah. You want me to get him?" Destiny nodded, scared but knowing it was time. Trevor came in looking nervous and hopeful and terrified all at once. He stopped at the foot of the bed, staring at the tiny bundle in Ruby's arms. "Can I?" He started, then stopped. Ruby looked at Destiny, who nodded. Carefully, Ruby placed Amara in Trevor's arms. The change in Trevor's face was immediate. He looked down at the baby, and Destiny watched him see what she'd seen. The resemblance was unmistakable. "Oh my God," he whispered. His eyes filled with tears. "She's mine. Trevor." Destiny's voice was soft. "She's really mine." He was crying now, looking at Amara like she was a miracle. "I have a daughter. Baby Amara opened her eyes and looked right at him, like she was studying his face. Trevor made a sound that was half sob, half laugh. "Hi, sweetheart," he whispered. "I'm your daddy." The words hit Destiny like a punch to the chest. This was what she'd been afraid of. This moment when everything became real and complicated and impossible to take back. "What are we going to do?" she asked. Trevor looked up at her, still holding Amara carefully. "I don't know. But I know I can't walk away from her. I can't pretend she doesn't exist. You have a wife, Trevor. A whole other life." "I know." His voice was heavy. "I know, and I don't know how to handle that. But Des, look at her. She's our daughter. How can I not be part of her life?" Ruby had been quiet, watching this scene unfold. Now she cleared her throat. "I think you two need to figure some things out. But right now this baby needs to eat and Des needs to rest. Trevor, why don't you go home, talk to your wife, and think about what you really want? This ain't going away, so you better be sure about whatever decision you make." Trevor nodded but seemed reluctant to give up the baby. Finally, he placed Amara back in Destiny's arms. "I'll be back tomorrow," he said. "We'll figure this out." After he left, Ruby sat down heavily in the visitor's chair. "Lord have mercy," she said. "What a mess. Mama, what am I going to do? He's married. This is going to destroy his marriage, and for what? So Amara can have a part-time daddy who sees her on weekends. Maybe his marriage ain't as solid as you think." "What do you mean?" Ruby was quiet for a moment. "Sister Patricia told me something else today. She said Simone's been asking questions too. About when you and Trevor got divorced, about whether y'all had been talking before the baby. She thinks I'm trying to steal her husband. She thinks her husband still has feelings for his ex-wife. And maybe she's right." That night, Destiny lay awake holding Amara, thinking about everything that had changed in 24 hours. Yesterday she'd been a single mother with a clear plan for her future. Today she was tied forever to a man who'd broken her heart and who belonged to someone else. Her phone buzzed. A text from Trevor. "I told Simone everything. We need to talk. All of us." Destiny stared at the message. All of us. That meant Simone wanted to meet her, wanted to see the baby who'd turned her marriage upside down. She texted back, "Not until I'm ready. And not until you figure out what you want. I want to be Amara's father. I want to be part of her life. And your wife." Long pause. Then, "I don't know. We're going to counseling. She's hurt and angry and I don't blame her. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Des, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all of it. But I can't change the fact that she's mine. I can't change that I love her already." Destiny looked down at Amara, sleeping peacefully against her chest. Such a tiny person to cause such big problems. "We'll talk when I get home from the hospital." "But Trevor? If you're going to be in her life, you have to be all in. I won't have you hurting her the way you hurt me. I won't. I promise. Your promises don't mean much to me anymore." She turned off her phone before he could respond. Tomorrow she'd have to face the reality of co-parenting with her ex-husband and dealing with his wife's feelings. Tomorrow she'd have to figure out how to protect her daughter from the mess the adults had made. But tonight, she just held her baby and tried to memorize everything about this moment before the world got complicated again. "It's going to be okay, Amara," she whispered. "No matter what happens with your daddy, I'm going to love you enough for everybody." The baby stirred in her arms, making soft little sounds, and Destiny felt her heart expand in a way she'd never experienced before. Whatever came next, they'd figure it out together. 2 months later, Destiny was getting used to her new normal. Trevor came by 3 times a week to see Amara, and he was good with her, patient, gentle, natural in a way that surprised Destiny. He'd figured out how to change diapers, how to hold her when she was fussy, how to make her laugh with silly faces. But the situation with Simone was still difficult. They'd met once at a coffee shop with both Trevor and Ruby present. Simone was smaller than Destiny had expected and sadder. She'd looked at photos of Amara on Trevor's phone with tears in her eyes. "She's beautiful," Simone had said. "She looks just like him." "I'm sorry," Destiny had said, meaning it. "I never wanted to hurt you." "I know. Trevor told me about that night, about how upset you both were. I understand how it happened. I just don't know how to live with it." They talked for an hour, carefully and painfully. Simone wanted children desperately but had been struggling with fertility issues. Seeing Trevor with a baby, his baby with another woman, was devastating. "I don't want to keep him from his daughter," Simone had said. "But I don't know if I can stay married to him either. This changes everything." Now, Destiny watched Trevor feeding Amara her bottle and wondered how things would work out. He and Simone were in counseling, but Trevor spent more and more time at Destiny's house. and she could see how hard it was on his marriage. She smiled at me today, Trevor said, grinning as Amara finished her bottle. A real smile, not just gas. She's been doing that more lately. She's starting to recognize faces. Trevor looked at Destiny over the baby's head. Des, can I ask you something? Sure. Do you ever think about us? About what might have been different if we tried harder? Destiny was quiet for a long moment. It wasn't a fair question, but it was one she'd been asking herself too. Sometimes, she said honestly. But we can't change the past, Trevor. We tried for 5 years and it didn't work. We wanted different things. What if we want the same things now? Do we? Because from where I sit, you're still married to someone else, and I'm still the woman who wasn't enough for you the first time. That's not what happened. Isn't it? Trevor shifted Amara to his shoulder, patting her back gently. I was young and stupid and scared of being tied down. I thought there was something better out there, something easier. I was wrong. And now you have a baby tying you down anyway. It's not the same thing. This. He looked down at Amara, who was falling asleep against his shoulder. This feels right. Being with her, being with you both, it feels like home. What about Simone? I care about Simone. But I think we both know our marriage was over before Amara was born. We just didn't want to admit it. Destiny's phone rang, interrupting the heavy conversation. It was Ruby. Baby, turn on Channel 5 News right now. Why, Mama? Just do it. Destiny grabbed the remote and switched on the TV. The local news was doing a story about a young father who'd started a non-profit to help single mothers in the community. The father looked familiar. It was David. The man who'd gotten her pregnant and then disappeared. Is that? Trevor asked, recognizing him from photos. Destiny turned up the volume. David was talking about his organization, about supporting women who were raising children alone, about taking responsibility for the communities they lived in. I made some mistakes in my past, David was saying to the reporter. I wasn't there for people who needed me. But I'm trying to do better now, trying to make up for the hurt I caused. The story ended with information about his nonprofit and how people could get help. Well, Ruby said when Destiny called her back. That's interesting timing. Mama, you don't think? I think that boy's been feeling guilty and trying to find a way to make things right. Question is, what are you going to do about it? After Trevor left that evening, Destiny sat with Amara, thinking about the strange turns her life kept taking. David was back trying to make amends. Trevor was questioning his marriage. Simone was trying to figure out if she could forgive. And Destiny was in the middle of it all, trying to make the best decisions for her daughter. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Hi, this is David. I saw the birth announcement in the paper. Congratulations on your beautiful daughter. I'd like to talk when you're ready. Destiny stared at the message for a long time. Then she deleted it. Whatever David wanted to say, whatever he wanted to offer, it was too late. Amara had a father now, a complicated, imperfect father who was trying to figure out how to be part of their lives. She didn't need another man coming around with apologies and good intentions. She looked down at her sleeping daughter, perfect and peaceful in her arms. Your story's just beginning, baby girl, she whispered. And it's going to be beautiful whatever happens. 3 days later, Trevor called with news. Simone and I are getting divorced, he said. It's mutual. We both know it's not working. Trevor, I don't want to be the reason your marriage ends. You're not. We've been having problems for a year. Amara just made us face the truth. What does this mean for us? I don't know yet. But I know I want to be the best father I can be to our daughter. And I know I'd like the chance to see if we could be happy together this time. Destiny was quiet, thinking about second chances and new beginnings. Let's take it slow, she said finally. Amara comes first. Everything else, we'll figure it out as we go. That sounds perfect. 6 months later, Destiny watched Trevor push Amara in her stroller through the park. At 10 months old, Amara was starting to walk and getting into everything. She had Trevor's curious nature and Destiny's determined personality, a combination that kept them both busy. Dada. Amara called out when she saw a duck, pointing excitedly. That's right, baby girl. Dada sees the duck too. Destiny smiled, watching them together. They'd all been through so much to get to this place. Divorce, heartbreak, unexpected pregnancy, complicated feelings, difficult conversations. But somehow they'd found their way to something that felt like family. Trevor had moved into his own apartment nearby and saw Amara almost every day. He and Destiny were taking things slowly, rediscovering each other as different people than they'd been during their marriage. Sometimes it felt like dating, sometimes like being co-parents, sometimes like being friends who shared the most important thing in the world. It wasn't perfect. There were still hard days, still questions about the future, still moments when the past hurt too much to ignore. But there was also love, pure, uncomplicated love for the little girl who'd brought them back together, and maybe, possibly, love for each other that was stronger and wiser than it had been before. "What are you thinking about?" Trevor asked, sitting down beside her on the park bench. "Just how different everything is now. A year ago I thought my life was falling apart. Now look at us." Trevor watched Amara chase a butterfly, her little legs wobbling as she tried to keep up. "Do you regret any of it? The pregnancy, seeing me again, all the complications?" Destiny considered the question seriously. "I regret the pain we caused other people. I regret that it took so long to figure out what really mattered. But Amara? Never. And this, whatever this is between us now, I don't regret it either. I love you, Des." Trevor said it quietly, like he'd been holding the words back for months. "I know I messed up before and I know we're still figuring things out, but I love you. Both of you." Destiny felt her heart skip. They'd been dancing around those words for weeks, both afraid to say them out loud, afraid of ruining the fragile peace they'd built. "I love you too," she said. "But Trevor, if we do this, if we really try again, it has to be different. We can't make the same mistakes. It will be different. We're different. I'm not the same man who walked away from you 3 years ago." Amara toddled back to them, holding a dandelion she'd picked. She offered it to Destiny with a huge smile. "Thank you, baby," Destiny said, taking the flower. "It's beautiful. Mama. Dada." Amara clapped her hands, delighted with herself. "That's right," Trevor said, scooping her up. "Mama and Dada." As they walked home together, Destiny thought about how strange life could be. Sometimes the worst things led to the best things. Sometimes what looked like an ending was really a beginning. Sometimes you had to lose everything to find what you really needed. That evening, after they'd put Amara to bed, Trevor and Destiny sat on her front porch, talking about the future. About maybe looking for a house together, about maybe getting married again someday, about giving Amara the family they'd all dreamed of. "I have something to tell you," Destiny said as they watched the sunset. "David called again last week." Trevor tensed. What did he want? To meet Amara. To apologize. To see if there was any chance we could work things out. And? I told him no. I told him Amara has a father, and I have everything I need. Trevor smiled and took her hand. "Do you really? Have everything you need?" Destiny looked at him, this man who'd broken her heart and then helped her put it back together, who'd given her the most beautiful daughter in the world, who was promising to love them both better than he had before. "Yeah," she said. "I think I do." Inside the house, Amara was sleeping peacefully in her crib, surrounded by stuffed animals and soft blankets. Her room was painted pale yellow with butterflies on the walls. Hope and transformation, Ruby had said when she helped decorate it. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new questions to answer, new decisions to make. But tonight, Destiny felt something she hadn't felt in years, complete. Not because a man had completed her, but because she'd found her way back to herself, to love, to the family she'd always wanted. As Trevor kissed her goodnight and headed to his car, Destiny stood in the doorway watching him go. He turned and waved before getting in, and she waved back. "See you tomorrow," he called softly. "See you tomorrow," she replied. And for the first time in 3 years, tomorrow felt full of possibilities instead of fears. Whatever came next, they would face it together. All three of them, the little family that had found each other again against all odds. Baby Amara stirred in her sleep, making soft sounds that might have been dreams or might have been contentment. Either way, Destiny thought as she checked on her one more time before bed, it sounded like happiness.